How are you doing? I'm Tom, and today we're going to talk about the 3 steps of gun cleaning. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because a friend of mine came up to me last Sunday at church and asked me about cleaning his rifles. And he knows his way around a gun. He's hunted for years, but he hasn't hunted in quite a long time. And he inherited his father's rifles, and most of his firearms are pretty much just in a safe now. Well, he wanted to make sure he was taking care of them, so he asked me about cleaning. And that's when I realized just how confusing gun cleaning has become. I mean, it's gotten pretty confusing, folks. There is so much information out there. And I've talked a lot about how there's a lot of confusion between all the different types of shooting. Well, that's the problem with gun cleaning right now. There are a lot of different types of shooting, and how you would clean a gun for one type of shooting isn't necessarily how you would clean it for another type. And then you got, those of us that are really into guns, we could do a PhD dissertation on barrel cleaning alone. So then when someone new to shooting comes up, or somebody that's just occasionally fires their firearms, or they just want to maintain their firearms, when they come up and ask about gun cleaning, that's a pretty daunting task to explain that. At least in a way that would, simple way that would be helpful for them. So I thought about that, and what I came up with is the 3 levels of gun cleaning. And that's what we're going to go over today, and the whole point of that was just to simplify the process of gun cleaning so that somebody new to firearms, or somebody that's just, they're not really, really deep into all the little details that you can get lost in gun cleaning, so that they can just quickly and easily understand, all right, this is what I need to do. And hopefully, for those of you that are really into firearms and can, do a PhD dissertation on barrel cleaning and everything else, hopefully this will give you a way to explain it to your friends, family, whoever, that might have hey, how do I clean my firearm? A simple question, and they want a simple answer. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the 3 levels of gun cleaning. So let's start with level 1 gun cleaning. First of all, you need a few things for this. All right, and just a really simple, basic gun cleaning kit that you can get at any gun store, department store, will be fine for this. Okay, so I've got my old Outers kit, but you can get the really small kits, and they're generally going to come with a cleaning rod that comes in sections, and you just put it together. It's going to come with different little plastic jags you put on the end, cloth, or little patches will usually come with it. And usually it'll come with gun oil and gun solvent. And I'll explain the difference between those in just a second. And this is the most important thing you need for level 1 gun cleaning. Just a soft cotton cloth. I recommend the microfiber towels they have now, but just something really small. You could use an old baby diaper, the cloth baby diapers. They work great. Just something really soft that's not going to scratch up your firearm. You want to take your cloth, take some gun oil, which really all gun oil is just mineral oil. And you want to just put some gun oil on your cloth. You'll put a little more on there when it's new, just because you've got to get some oil soaked into it. Not a lot, but just enough to where it leaves a really fine film on your firearm when you wipe it down. And just every once in a while, you know, every couple of years, every year, 6 months, depending on how often you do this, add a little more oil to your cloth. That's it. And you'll take your cloth and you're going to store it in some kind of little Ziploc bag just to keep it sealed up. And I've got a little bag here, and I think this was a Winchester brand cloth that I picked up at Walmart one day. And I'm going to say I've had this one for 10 years or so, probably more. Okay, level 1 gun cleaning. This is the simplest gun cleaning, and this is for firearms that have had little to no use. All right, so your rifle is in the gun safe. You haven't shot it. You know, it was clean when you put it in there. You just, every now and then, you need to wipe it down. Or you deer hunters, you went to the range that day, you fired half a box of shells, set in your scope. Or you went hunting that morning. Maybe you shot a deer, maybe you didn't. Either way, this is rifles or shotguns or pistols, for that matter, that have had little to no use. They're clean to start with. And all you want to do is just take your cloth and wipe down all the steel surfaces. You don't want to wipe down the wood. Okay, mineral oil, any petroleum product, and wood do not go together. So you're not trying to wipe down the wood and make the wood shiny and look good. Okay, no, this is just for the metal parts. And all this does is just keeps them clean and keeps them from rusting. So I'm going to wipe this down. And I've noticed a lot of people, they don't pay attention to the little nooks and crannies, a little hard to get to spots. You want to hit those spots too. All right, and you're not, you know, trying to clean it or scrub it. You're literally just wiping the gun down. And this particular rifle here, this is a FN-49. I've had this rifle for a really long time. This was a Christmas present from my late mother, and I think she gave me this when I was 13. Her and my uncle went in together, and he stumbled across it at a gun show. He was really into firearms. So I've had this one for a long time. This is my safe queen right here. It hardly ever gets used. All right, but I still want to pull it out every now and then and wipe it down. And I want to wipe down the magazine. I want to wipe down any bottom metal on it. I want to wipe down the trigger and trigger guard. And yes, I have cleared this gun and made sure it's safe. And that's number one of, you know, all firearms. I want to hit the barrel band. And the sling swivels. I want to hit the gas port up here. The iron sights. Okay, a lot of these old rifles have really nice iron sights on them. I want to make sure I hit them. And I want to get underneath the scope rings. I want to hit the scope rings. And in this particular rifle, I want to make sure I hit the bayonet lug. All right, and I picked this particular rifle for this video because it's a semi-auto. Right, for bolt action, go ahead and pull your bolt out and wipe it down. And that's easy enough to do with the bolt action. For semi-auto, I just want to pull the slide back, or the bolt. And I want to wipe down everything on the inside I can get to. I want to inspect the bolt face and make sure it's nice and clean. My rails, or where the bolt slides on. I want to hit that. And that's it. Now, if you're going to store a gun, let's say it's the end of deer season and, you know, January 1st, you're fixing to put the gun away till, you know, next fall, or you've got a safe queen like this one. It's not a bad idea to run a patch down the barrel with just a drop of oil on it. And that's why I pulled out the cleaning rod. All right, now I know a lot of the serious shooters are saying, you know, don't use a, you know, the adjustable universal cleaning rods. Trust me, folks, it's fine for this. All right, so I'm going to take my patch. I'm going to put it on this little jag here. I'm going to take my gun oil. I'm going to put just a couple drops on here. And I mean literally a couple drops. This does not take much. We're not trying to drown the gun or drench it. Okay, and I'm going to do another no-no that you'll hear from a lot of people. I'm going to run this in from the muzzle. And that's it. This gun is ready to go back in the safe. This gun's ready to be put away. It's ready to be stored. Okay, now we're at level 2. And you're going to need a few extra things for this. All right, you're going to want some paper towels. You're going to want some gun solvent. You're going to need a wire brush for whatever caliber your firearm is. A little nylon brush for getting in small places is real handy. You're going to need some kind of tool to disassemble your firearm. All right, and this is a Gun Master. It's got a lot of bits with it. I picked it up at Walmart. It's cheap. This is a really handy thing to have here. All right, and this is going to cover most of what you need as far as disassembly. All right, level 2 is for dirty firearms. This is for firearms that have been used. All right, so you're going to want to do level 2 cleaning, we'll say after, you know, some trips to the range where you've put some rounds through it, or at the end of deer season. You know, you've hunted all season, season's over, and you've got a few rounds through it. You know, maybe you shot a few deer, maybe you didn't, but you checked your scope, you checked your sights, maybe zeroed your scope. So you've got a few rounds to the whatever firearm. Maybe you got caught in the rain or something, dropped it in the mud, whatever, it's dirty, it needs cleaning. All right, I'm not gonna disassemble this one. And what you need to do, because there's so many firearms out there, and I mean, there's a lot to each one. So you need to go look up a video on disassembly and cleaning whatever particular firearm you have. And there'll be a video out there somewhere on it. And you need to read your owner's manual. Matter of fact, start with the owner's manual. After that, go look up a good video for disassembly and cleaning your firearm. And that's where your paper towels and solvent and all that's going to come in. And once you get through cleaning everything, take your rag that you used at level 1 and wipe everything, all the metal parts down before you reassemble them. Now this rifle here, this is my Winchester Model 70 that I've had in quite a few videos, it's a project here on the channel. I've already taken this one apart, did it in a couple of videos back, and I was fixing some accuracy problems with the stock. Well, I went ahead and cleaned everything then. All right, so I've already basically field stripped this one. But I have run some rounds through it, and I figured I'd go ahead and clean the barrel and show y'all that, because after you field strip your firearm at level 2, and you've cleaned all the different pieces and parts, you use solvent to get rid of all the carbon, and then after it dried, you went back over it and wiped everything down with your rag and gun oil. You reassembled everything. Now we get to the barrel, all right? And you want to clean the barrel as part of level 2 cleaning. All right, this is where we start complicating things, us shooters. Okay, well, we're fixing to uncomplicate it right now. All right, I'm gonna take my wire brush, and this is a 7mm caliber rifle. This is a 7mm brush. And I'm gonna wrap a patch on here. And I'm not going to put an entire patch on here, and you don't even have to do this. The patch will hold itself on the wire, and all the patch is for is just to hold some of the solvent that I'm going to put on here. Again, this is not required. You can just put solvent on a straight wire brush, and it'll work just fine. And I'm going to clean this from the breech. And another thing I'm going to do is set the rifle so that the barrel's down so that everything wants to drain this way. And you don't have to clean it from the breech. You can clean it from the muzzle. All right. What this brush is made out of is not going to hurt your barrel, so a lot of people would scream, no, you can't clean it from the muzzle, you'll ruin your gun. That's not true. All right. Don't worry about it. You want to be careful. You don't want to scratch anything, but you're not really going to mess up steel, with what your brush is made out of. All right, it's a bronze brush. The rod's made out of material that, it's a lot softer than steel. All right. If you can clean it from the chamber, that's better. All right. And the reason it's better is because when this brush comes out the other side, it's dirt and all kinds of stuff's going to spray everywhere when those bristles open up, and you just don't want to spray it inside your action. All right. For a lever action, you have to come in from the muzzle. All right, so don't worry about it. And you could use a bore snake for this too. I mean, this would be a perfect time if you've got a bore snake, level 2 cleaning. Hey, it would work. I just prefer the rods. Pull this back through. You could take the brush off if you wanted to, but okay, now how many times do you run the rod through? All right, if you've just been out, maybe you fired half a box of bullets. You could run it through once, twice, you're good, you're done, finished. If you fired a lot of rounds through your rifle and you've noticed your groups are starting to open up, all right, you're going to want to run this through a good bit. We'll say 10 or 15 times. And I'll explain why in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this one. Where a lot of the confusion comes in when cleaning barrels on rifles has to do with copper fouling. Okay, copper fouling builds up over time after a lot of rounds, and it causes your groups to open up. So you need to clean the barrel to get rid of some of the fouling to get your groups to tighten up again. All right, well, this only happens after a lot of rounds. I'm talking, 80 rounds, 100 rounds. It depends on your rifle. Every rifle's different. But it takes some rounds through a rifle before it gets to the point that your group starts opening up and you can see it. All right, there's deer rifles out there that can go for decades and not shoot 80 rounds. I mean, think about it. You go to the range, set your scope, zero it. Maybe you go to the range at the beginning of the season, fire 3 shots, check your scope, you're done. You kill a few deer during the season. How many rounds are you actually putting through a hunting rifle? All right, so you don't even have to worry about copper fouling for a hunting rifle unless you're running some rounds through it or it's got some age on it. All right, after fouling builds up, you want to run, your brush through there with a patch on it, just like I just did, and some solvent. And you want to run it through 10 or 15 times to knock down some of the fouling. And that's going to change your groups, it's going to change how your gun shoots. That's why you don't want to clean, as a hunter, you don't really want to clean your barrel after you set your scope or during gun season. If you get, dirt in your barrel, it rained or whatever, yeah, go ahead and clean it then, get rid of all that, and that's fine. And if your group opens up a little bit, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But for normal hunting rifle, just don't worry about cleaning your barrel till after season, and then just depending on how many rounds you fired through it, use that to determine how many times to run your brush through. If you only fired a couple rounds, just Run the wire brush through once or twice, get rid of the carbon, you're good. Don't even worry about trying to get rid of copper fouling. It's not even an issue. You don't have to worry about that for another 6, 7 years. Okay, if you've got a lot of rounds through yours, I've been load testing this rifle, so I've got some rounds through it. So I went ahead and ran it through 10 times, knocked the fouling down. I'm going back to the range before season. I'm going to run some more rounds through it, so I'll build the fouling back up. And I'll know exactly where and how the gun's shooting. Okay, if you're doing precision shooting, long range, that's a whole different ball game. And I know a lot of you guys are cringing at everything I'm saying and doing right now. We'll talk about that at level 3. This is level 2 this is a normal hunting rifle. Your rifle got dirty. Now that I've ran the wire brush through there, and that knocked out most of it, I want to take a patch. I want to put just a few drops here on this patch. Now I'm going to run it through. All right, if you'll notice, I've got some black on here. Well, I'm going to run a couple more patches through until I don't have any black. Now my patch is still going to be discolored, and all that black is just carbon. And that's all we're doing, is just basically getting rid of the carbon, like I said, knocking down some of the copper. We're going to get another patch, and we're going to repeat this until it comes out clean. And what I'll do is, when I run a patch through and it's not terrible as far as being dirty, I'll flip the patch over and use that same patch twice. Right? And we're pretty good here. I'm still in a little bit of dirt, but that's okay. I'm going to run some dry patches through now. And I mentioned at level 1 that you might want to put a few drops of oil on a patch and push it through at the end if you're going to store your firearm. Right. Well, you want to make sure before you go shoot it again, you run a dry patch through there. And that's all I'm doing right now is a dry patch. You don't want oil inside your barrel when you're shooting. You want just a dry, clean barrel. And we're going to call that done. All right, so this rifle, all the bottom metal's clean, inside and out, bottom of the receiver, bottom of the barrel. Barrel's clean. This rifle, this is a clean rifle. Now all I would do is put the bolt in it and wipe everything down. Just do a standard level 1 cleaning now, just wiping it all down. Put it in the cabinet. Now it's ready for use whenever I'm ready. Now let's talk about level 3. All right, the big difference between level 3 and level 1 and 2, level 3 is for people that just shoot all the time. Okay, this is your hardcore precision guys. This is, whoever that just doing a lot of shooting and are extremely fanatical about how precisely their firearm shoots. Okay, the tools are going to be a little different for level 3. If you're shooting a lot and you're this deep into it, you need to get a quality cleaning rod. 1-piece rod. This is a Dewey's. I love them. I think Parker Hale still makes them. They're great rods. All right. You don't need this for just a normal hunter or occasional, you use firearm, every once in a while. You don't need to spend the money for this for just the average firearm enthusiast. All right, the universal rods will work. All right. If you're shooting a lot and you're into this and you're cleaning your firearm a lot, all right, go ahead and get this. Bore guide. Okay, bore guides, you put it, remove your bolt, put it in, insert it into your chamber. All right, what that does is when you put your cleaning rod in, your patch or your brush, whatever, you're not dripping solvent into the action. Okay, and you don't want to get solvent and oil in your action because it eventually creates a mess. It can, gum up your trigger. But the normal person, normal occasional, shooter, normal hunter, you're not cleaning your rifle enough to do that. All right, so and this is where a lot of the confusion comes in. Okay, if you're cleaning your rifle all the time, it makes a difference. All right. Normal person, don't worry about this. So if you're at, the level 3 cleaning, get you a bore guide. And try to keep, from getting any solvent or oil in your action. And for anybody, try to keep from getting any in your action. But if you got a drop in there, it's not the end of the world. All right, now let's talk about fouling. Every person that's into precision shooting's got their own whatever they use to get rid of fouling. Okay, and again, your normal hunter, that's really an issue unless you've got a really old rifle that has had some rounds through it. And I've had such a rifle before. I still have a 1944 303 Lee Enfield Long Branch. That was my hunting rifle for a lot of years. Well, when I first got that rifle, it shot 3.5-inch groups at 100 yards. I learned some things and read some things, and I went to the store and I bought some JB bore cleaner. All right, and this little bottle here, just to show you how often I use that, I bought this little can here well over 20 years ago. Okay, the gun shop I bought this from, not only is the gun shop gone, but the people that owned it, they're dead and gone. I mean, this has been some years back. All right, this can's still almost full. Okay, this is not something you do regularly. All right, now some guys, they love the chemical cleaners that remove fouling, but we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, I use this, followed the directions on the can, use this on that old 303 British, and my shot groups went from 3.5-inch groups to 1.5-inch groups. Okay, that's what copper fouling over the years can do. Well, there's no telling how many decades that rifle had been fired and not cleaned. I mean, the gun was made in 1944. It had some rounds through it. And we're not even talking about, what did it go through during World War II. So, there's just absolutely no telling how many rounds went through that rifle. This made a difference on improving the accuracy. You don't want to use this on your new hunting rifle. Okay, all right. When do you need to use something like this or the new chemical copper cleaners, sweats or something like that? That's something, if you're into a lot of shooting, you just really need to dig into that and make your own decision. And a lot of people, they don't like the JB because it's an abrasive, so it's going to wear on the steel, same as the copper. All right. Well, keep in mind the chemicals you put in there, they're working on the steel just the same as the copper too. Okay. I mean, and it takes some, pretty good chemicals to react with copper, because copper, it doesn't react with much. That's one of the reasons we use it for so many things. So, this is just something you're really going to need to study up on, and you're going to need to come up with your own regimen for how often you do this. And, nobody has an answer to it, and every single rifle barrel's different. Okay, some need cleaning more than others. And you can have two rifle barrels that came off the same line at the same time, and they're going to be different. The tool marks on them are different. Each one's unique. So you'll have to figure that one out on your own. And you're going to want a good brass cleaning jag. Okay, I just used the simple jag that came with this kit that I bought a long time ago for this, for showing level 2 cleaning. You can use all that for cleaning your barrel. It's not the end of the world for you purists if somebody that doesn't shoot a lot uses that to clean a barrel. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. But if you're going to shoot a lot, if you're really going to get into it, you might as well go on and get higher quality things because they're going to get used a lot. The little brass jag that comes with that, it's fine for cleaning a rifle, you know, once or twice a year. But if you're cleaning once or twice a month, you know, go ahead and get the brass one. It's going to hold up and it's going to last for decades. Same thing with the quality rods. I think that covered it on cleaning. And I really hope that simplified it for a lot of you, especially newer shooters, because I know how confusing this gets. And again, I didn't realize how confusing it was till my friend asked me about it at church. It was confusing. Hopefully it's not as confusing now. Just what level of cleaning do you need to do to your rifle? And always finish up wiping your gun down, level 1 cleaning. And this one, I will wipe this rifle down and then I'll put it back in the cabinet and hey, it's ready to go. All right, I really hope that helped out. If it did, give me a thumbs up. If it didn't, give me a thumbs up. Give all YouTube videos that deal with hunting and shooting a thumbs up. Let YouTube know you like them. And if you want to see future videos, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. And God bless. Have a good day.